Imagine standing on the edge of a new year, knowing that the next 365 days could either be the same old story or the most powerful chapter of your life yet. What if I told you that there are 10 specific actions, 10 choices you make before 2026 that could completely shift your results, your energy, and your destiny? This isn't about luck, timing, or waiting for motivation. It's about stepping up, reclaiming your power, and creating a life that finally matches the greatness inside you. Get ready, because what you do in these next moments will define everything. Before 2026 arrives, you have to make a choice, a real choice, not the kind you write on paper and forget, but the kind that changes the texture of your days. Most people live as if the calendar controls them, as if the clock decides their destiny. They wait for the right moment, the right mood, the right plan. But if you keep waiting for the perfect time, the year will take control and you'll simply be reacting to life instead of directing it. This is the moment where everything shifts. This is where you reclaim your inner power before the year reclaims you. Because the truth is, life doesn't change when the world changes. Life changes when you decide that enough is enough. When you say, this next stage of my life is going to be created by intention, not by default. And that decision begins long before January 1st ever arrives. It begins in the quiet moments where you get brutally honest with yourself about where you've been holding back, where you've been tolerating too little, and where you've been settling for a version of yourself that you know is smaller than what you're capable of becoming. You don't need another year to start over. You need one decision, one moment of absolute clarity where you say, this is the standard now. This is who I am becoming. Most people never get there because they're waiting for permission from society, from their past, from someone who once doubted them. But the only permission you ever needed was the permission to reclaim your power from your excuses, your distractions, your fears, and the stories you've convinced yourself were true. Let me tell you something real. The world responds to a person who has decided, not someone who is thinking about deciding, not someone who is almost ready. The moment you take back your mental authority, everything shifts. Your energy, your confidence, your relationships, your opportunities. The universe tends to move aside for the person who has finally said, I will no longer negotiate with my limitations. Most people don't lose their dreams because they lack talent or resources. They lose them because they've forgotten their power. They've forgotten they're the ones who set the tone for their day, their reaction to adversity, their attitude toward growth. They've forgotten that every year is just a mirror reflecting their internal leadership. If your inner world is chaotic, unsure, overwhelmed, then the year will take that shape. If inner world is steady, intentional, powerful, then the year bends in your favor. So ask yourself right now, who do I want to be when the clock hits 2026? Not what goals do you want? Who do you want to be? Because goals without identity collapse under pressure. But identity, true identity, creates momentum that never dies. Maybe the last few years have been heavy. Maybe you've been in survival mode. Maybe you've been trying to keep up with responsibilities, expectations, or environments that drain your energy instead of fueling your potential. But you're still here. And being here means you still have the ability to reclaim the steering wheel of your life. You're not too late. You're not too old. You're not too stuck. You're one decision away from shifting from survival to creation. Reclaiming your inner power is not about hype. It's about alignment. It's about waking up and recognizing that every day you hand away your energy, whether to fear, to hesitation, to procrastination, or to people who do not value your time, you lose a piece of the life you're meant to live. And before 2026 arrives, you've got to decide you are done giving your life away. Decide that your focus is value. Decide that your peace is value. Decide that your goals are not optional. Decide that your future matters more than your comfort zone. When you reclaim your power, you stop negotiating with average. You stop living for validation. You stop apologizing for wanting more. You stop shrinking to fit rooms that were never designed for your expansion. Because here's the truth. The world is waiting for the version of you that knows who they are. The version of you that walks into 2026, not hoping life will change, but expecting it because you've already changed internally. You've already made the choice. You've already built the foundation of power that no circumstance can shake. This is your moment to reclaim the pen and rewrite the narrative. The story is not over. The chapter is not closed. The next year doesn't need to be a repeat of the last, but it won't automatically transform. It becomes extraordinary when you become intentional. Choose now, decide now, reclaim your inner power now, because the year ahead will rise or fall to the level of who you choose to become today. This is where everything shifts. When you talk about transforming your life before 2026, most people immediately think about big goals, big dreams, big plans, but transformation isn't built on big outcomes. It's built on small, consistent decisions that you repeat until they become part of who you are. That's the real shift. Not doing something once, not doing it when you feel motivated, but doing it until the action becomes your identity. Because habits aren't just routines, they are the quiet architects of your destiny. People overestimate the power of dramatic change and underestimate the power of daily alignment. You can't hope your way into a new life. You can't affirm your way into a new identity. You build it brick by brick through the habits you commit to every single day. Before 2026 arrives, you've got to decide on the non-negotiables, those habits that will carry you even on the days your emotions try to talk you out of your power. Think about this. Every day, you're casting a vote for the type of person you're becoming. If you say you want to be stronger, but your habits vote for weakness, there's a conflict. If you say you want to be focused, but you wake up scrolling your phone, your habits are voting for distraction. If you say you want to grow, but your routines keep you in the same patterns, your habits are voting for stagnation. The future isn't shaped by what you want. It's shaped by what you repeatedly do. And I'm not talking about building 20 new habits. That's not how real change works. Real change comes from identifying the 3 or 4 habits that, if executed daily, shift your state, sharpen your mind, and elevate your standard. These habits become the anchors that keep you grounded no matter what storms come your way. They become the foundation of the identity you step into as 2026 approaches. There's something powerful that happens when you decide something is non-negotiable. It stops being a suggestion. It stops being optional. It becomes part of your identity, like brushing your teeth or locking your door at night. You don't debate it. You don't negotiate with it. You don't wait for motivation. You do it because it's who you are now. But here's the challenge. Most people negotiate with themselves more than they negotiate with anyone else in their life. They talk themselves out of the things that would change them. They say, I'll start tomorrow. I'll do it later. I'll wait until things calm down. The problem is life never calms down. The world never gets quieter. There will always be friction, distraction, delay. So you've got to build habits that thrive in real life, not the perfect life you're imagining. The secret is recognizing that habits create momentum, and momentum creates identity. When you follow through on your commitments, even the small ones, you build trust with yourself. And when you trust yourself, you stop being someone who needs motivation. You become someone who is internally driven. That's the edge. That's the advantage. Most people aren't lacking discipline, they're lacking self-trust because they've broken promises to themselves for years. Before 2026, decide to rebuild that trust. Wake up and choose 3 habits that will shape the identity you're stepping into. Maybe it's a morning routine that elevates your mental state. Maybe it's 15 minutes of reading that expands your perspective. Maybe it's a daily workout that shifts your energy. Maybe it's journaling to reconnect with your clarity. It doesn't matter what the habits are, as long as they're aligned with your future, not your past. And don't underestimate what consistency does. You might not see the impact on day 1 or week 1, or maybe not even month 1, but the transformation is happening beneath the surface. Small shifts compound. A 1-degree change today becomes a completely different trajectory months from now. This is where most people fall off. They stop before the compounding effect kicks in. They quit in the invisible phase, but if you stay with it, if you stay consistent, even when it feels slow, even when it feels boring, even when no one is watching, that's when identity locks in. That's when you start acting like the person you want to become instead of the person you've been trying to grow out of. And once your identity shifts, your habits become effortless. You don't force them. They flow naturally from who you've become. Remember, habits aren't just actions, they're declarations. Every time you follow through, you're saying, this is who I am now. This is the standard I live by. And before 2026 arrives, you want to walk into that year as someone who no longer hopes for change, but someone who embodies it. You want your habits to be so aligned with your vision that your future doesn't feel like a dream. It feels inevitable. Because when your identity shifts, your entire life shifts with it. This is how you build the version of yourself that 2026 demands. Most people enter a new year thinking that the key to success is doing more work, more networking, more planning. But the real breakthrough before 2026 doesn't come from adding more. It comes from removing the things that are holding you back. Distractions, delays, doubt, these are the silent thieves of progress. They creep into your life slowly, quietly, and before you know it, an entire year can pass without the results you imagined. And here's the truth, it's not because you lacked talent or ideas. It's because you let these 3 drains dominate your energy and attention. Distractions are everywhere. Your phone buzzes, your email pings, social media whispers, and suddenly hours disappear. Most people think they can multitask, but the brain doesn't work that way. Every time you switch your attention, you lose momentum, clarity, and focus. The year ahead is going to demand deep focus. If you can't control your attention, the opportunities you deserve will slip through your fingers. So before 2026 arrives, make a hard decision, choose what deserves your attention, and ruthlessly eliminate everything else. Not someday, not next week. Now stop letting the noise run your life. Stop giving energy to what doesn't serve your vision. Your future is shaped by the focus you allow today. Then there's delay. Procrastination is disguised as waiting for the right moment. But the truth is, there is no perfect moment. There is only the moment you're in and the action you take. Most people delay because they're afraid of failure, afraid of judgment, afraid of uncertainty. But waiting isn't safe. Waiting is a trap that robs you of time, energy, and momentum. Before 2026, decide you will act immediately on what matters, build a bias toward execution. Don't wait for the stars to align. Align yourself with courage, clarity, and commitment and start moving today. 1 decisive action repeated consistently has more power than 100 plans that sit on paper. And then there's doubt, the inner voice that whispers you're not ready, not capable, not enough. Doubt is the sneaky destroyer of dreams. It's subtle, but it eats away at your confidence every single day. Before 2026, you have to stop giving it power. You have to train your mind to recognize it, confront it, and replace it with belief in your capability. Remember, doubt thrives on inaction. The moment you start, even imperfectly, it begins to fade. Confidence is not built by wishing for it. It's built by showing up, by proving to yourself again and again that you can handle more than you thought possible. Most people think they need more motivation, more inspiration, more guidance. But the reality is removing these life drains has a more profound effect than anything you could add. When you eliminate distractions, you create mental space for focus. When you eliminate delay, you create momentum for growth. When you eliminate doubt, you create a foundation for confidence. And when these three are gone, suddenly the impossible starts to feel inevitable. Before 2026, take inventory. Look at your life and identify the distractions, the delays, and the doubts that have been quietly controlling your outcomes. Be honest, be brutal. Maybe it's the constant scroll through social media that steals your mornings. Maybe it's the habit of overthinking instead of acting. Maybe it's the people in your life who drain your energy instead of elevate it. Whatever it is, recognize it and remove it. Don't just try to manage it. Don't just hope it will improve. Remove it. Make space for what matters. And here's the beauty of this work. Once you remove the drains, clarity floods in. Your decisions become easier, your energy multiplies, and your opportunities become visible. It's not magic, it's alignment. The universe responds to those who simplify, focus, and act with purpose. When distractions are gone, you see the path clearly. When delay is gone, you move decisively. When doubt is gone, you act boldly. This is how you set the stage for a life that shifts completely in the next year. Removing distractions, delays, and doubt isn't comfortable. It's not supposed to be. Growth rarely is. But the discomfort you feel is temporary and the results are permanent. The people who succeed before 2026 will be those who are willing to say no to everything that steals their power so they can say yes to what truly matters. Your time is the most valuable resource you have. Every moment you allow these drains to run your life is a moment lost forever. The difference between who you are now and who you will become next year is not just about what you start doing. It's about what you stop allowing in. Eliminate the noise, eliminate the excuses, eliminate the inner sabotage. When you remove the three biggest life drains, you create the space for everything you want to grow. One of the most overlooked secrets to transforming your life before 2026 is the people you choose to spend your time with. Your circle, the friends you keep, the colleagues you admire, the people you allow into your personal space has a bigger impact on your success than almost anything else. Most people underestimate this because it doesn't feel urgent. You think, I'm working hard, I'll make it on my own. But here's the truth. Your environment is stronger than your willpower. No matter how determined you are, if the people around you are pulling you down, your energy leaks, your standards drop, and your potential goes untapped. Before 2026, you have to make a hard choice about your circle. Ask yourself, are the people in my life lifting me up, or are they keeping me small? Because energy is contagious. Momentum is contagious. Standards are contagious. If you spend time with people who complain, make excuses, or settle for mediocrity, it's going to seep into you whether you realize it or not. Your habits, your mindset, and your ambitions will begin to mirror theirs. But if you surround yourself with people who are hungry, driven, and committed to growth, suddenly your thinking expands, your actions accelerate, and your results multiply. This doesn't mean you have to cut people off harshly. It doesn't mean you have to be unkind. It means you need clarity on your priorities and the courage to protect your time and energy. You begin by identifying who inspires you, who challenges you, who pushes you to be better, and then you make the deliberate choice to spend more time with them, to learn from them, to absorb their energy and let it influence your actions. The people you align with set the standard for what you consider normal and possible in your life. Look, the world rewards those who belong to communities of excellence. People who thrive in life understand that success isn't a solo journey. You can have ambition, discipline, and vision, but without the right circle, it's hard to sustain it. Your peers will either mirror your limitations or magnify your potential. And before 2026, you have to decide what you want. It's also about contribution, not just consumption. Surrounding yourself with high-performing, positive people isn't about being a hanger-on. It's about creating reciprocal relationships where you give energy, support, and value, and they do the same for you. You grow faster when your environment encourages accountability, challenges your excuses, and celebrates progress instead of mediocrity. When everyone in your circle is raising their standard, your standard naturally rises. But here's the kicker, this takes courage. Because some of the relationships you've held onto for years might not serve your future. You may realize that the comfort of familiarity has been keeping you stagnant. That's why this isn't just a tactical decision. It's a strategic one. It's about aligning your life with the people who reflect the version of yourself you're stepping into. Before 2026, take stock of who energizes you, who drains you, and who inspires you. Then act. Spend more time with the people who lift you higher and less time with those who pull you down. Your circle also influences your thinking. When you're around people who are curious, ambitious, and committed to growth, you start thinking differently. Your conversations change. Your expectations rise. You start seeing solutions instead of obstacles, opportunities instead of excuses. This is the invisible force that propels people ahead faster than any self-help book course or motivational speech, because momentum is contagious and standards are contagious. And remember, the people you choose now set the tone for 2026. You want a circle that challenges you to expand, that inspires you to take risks, and that celebrates you when you do. A circle that holds you accountable when you falter, not just cheers you on when it's convenient. When you upgrade your circle, you upgrade your results without even trying. Your environment starts to pull you forward instead of letting you drift. So before 2026, don't just think about goals and habits. Think about your people. Think about who surrounds you in your everyday life. Who fills your mornings and evenings with energy or drains them? Who do you allow to influence your mood, your thinking, your decisions? Your circle will determine the quality of your life more than almost anything else. This is where real leverage lies. Upgrade your circle and your life will naturally rise to meet it. Before 2026 arrives, there's one skill that will define your results more than anything else, and it's one that most people ignore. It's not how much money you make, how many hours you work, how smart you are, it's how well you manage your emotions. Your state, the way you feel in any given moment, dictates the decisions you make, the actions you take, and the quality of your relationships. Most people think emotions are something that just happen to them like the weather, but they aren't. Emotions are the ultimate tool for shaping your life, and learning to master them is the difference between a life that drifts and a life that thrives. Think about the last time you acted impulsively out of frustration, fear, or anger. How did that choice serve you? Now think about a time you were calm, clear, and fully present. How did that choice serve you? Your emotional state is the lens through which you see the world, and it influences every single outcome you get. If you're feeling overwhelmed, distracted, or anxious, you'll make decisions that reflect that state. But if you're empowered, focused, and confident, your choices elevate your results. Before 2026, learning to control your state is non-negotiable. Most people wait to feel motivated or inspired before taking action, and that's a trap. Motivation is fleeting, and inspiration is inconsistent. What lasts is the ability to deliberately choose your state regardless of circumstances. You can't always control what happens around you, but you can control what happens inside you. And the people who achieve massive results are those who have trained themselves to enter powerful states on demand. They don't wait for life to feel right. They decide how they will feel and act accordingly. Emotional mastery isn't about suppressing feelings. It's about recognizing them, understanding them, and using them strategically. Fear can become fuel. Frustration can become focus. Excitement can become energy. The key is to understand that emotions are not obstacles. They are signals. They are feedback from your mind and body about your current alignment with your goals and your values. When you learn to interpret them, you can harness them instead of being sabotaged by them. Most people are reactive. They let every circumstance, every comment, every setback dictate their emotional response, and then they wonder why their results are inconsistent. But before 2026, you must step into the space of proactivity. You must train yourself to respond to challenges rather than react. This is a skill that compounds over time. Every time you choose a productive emotional state in the face of adversity, you strengthen your emotional muscles. You begin to move from being a victim of circumstance to being a commander of your life. Here's the thing: your state affects not only your actions, but also the people around you. A single person who maintains calm, clarity, and confidence in chaos becomes a magnet for solutions and opportunities. People want to follow those who are steady under pressure. Teams perform better when leaders regulate their emotions. Relationships deepen when emotions are managed instead of mismanaged. Your ability to master your state before 2026 will influence not only your outcomes, but the environment around you as well. To master your emotions, start by becoming aware of them. Notice when your state shifts throughout the day. What triggers frustration, doubt, or fear? What elevates energy, focus, and confidence? Awareness is the first step to control. Next, develop tools to shift your state quickly. Physical movement, breathing exercises, visualization, and focused gratitude are all ways to elevate your energy and mindset instantly. But the real power comes from practice. You won't master your emotions overnight, but the consistent effort compounds. Every choice to shift your state builds momentum and resilience that carries forward into every area of your life. The people who succeed in life are not those who avoid challenges or never feel fear. They are the ones who learn to regulate their emotions, to stay resourceful when circumstances are difficult, and to take action with clarity and courage even when life doesn't go as planned. Before 2026, commit to this skill. Commit to understanding your emotional patterns, to taking responsibility for your state, and to choosing the feelings that empower you rather than limit you. When you master your emotions, your decisions improve, your relationships improve, your energy improves, your results improve, and most importantly, your life begins to shift in ways that waiting for motivation or external circumstances never could. Emotional discipline isn't optional. It's the foundation of personal power. Master your emotional state, and everything else falls into place. Before 2026 arrives, there is one thing you must do that will make everything else fall into place. Create a vision so powerful that it doesn't just inspire you, it pulls you forward. Most people set goals, they make lists. They write resolutions, they hope things will change. But goals alone are not enough. Goals are external, measurable outcomes. A vision is internal. A vision is alive. It's a force that shapes your actions, your decisions, and even your emotions because it connects to something far bigger than yourself. A compelling vision doesn't push you, it pulls you. It makes getting out of bed in the morning inevitable, not optional. Too many people drift through life waiting for circumstances to align with their desires. They think, if only this happened, if only I had that, then I'd be happy, then I'd take action. That's backward. The truth is, your vision creates circumstances. When your vision is vivid, When it's tangible and magnetic, it changes the way you show up every single day. You start acting differently, thinking differently, making decisions differently, and suddenly the world begins to reflect the clarity and intensity of your inner picture. Before 2026, if you want a life that feels unstoppable, you need a vision that commands your attention, captures your heart, and drives your actions. A vision is not just about career success, money, or status. It's about the life you want to live, the person you want to become, and the impact you want to make. It's about creating a blueprint for your future so detailed that your mind and body know exactly what to do to make it real. The more vivid your vision, the more compelling your actions become. It's no longer about forcing yourself to work harder or pushing through boredom or doubt. It's about following a path that your own excitement naturally compels you to take. Before you create this vision, you must first get brutally honest with yourself. What do you truly want in life? Not what someone else says is reasonable. What experiences do you want to have? What relationships do you want to nurture? What legacy do you want to leave? Clarity is the starting point of power. Without clarity, the year ahead becomes a series of random choices, adrift with no direction. With clarity, every decision, every action, every effort is aligned. And here's the key to compelling vision: must pull with emotion. It must make you feel something so deeply that doing nothing is unbearable. It must make you imagine the future as if it's already yours, with all the sights, sounds, and emotions fully present in your mind. How does it feel to live that life? What does it sound like, look like, and even smell like? Emotion is the engine that propels action. Without it, a vision is just a picture on a page. With it, a vision becomes an unstoppable magnet. Once your vision is in place, your next step is to break it down into actions that are inevitable. It's not enough to dream big. You must also create a plan that connects your daily routines, habits, and decisions to that vision. Every morning, you wake up with a question. What action today moves me closer to this life? When your daily choices are aligned with your vision, momentum builds. You're no longer drifting, you're accelerating towards something that excites you so much that obstacles feel temporary, challenges feel like opportunities, and discipline becomes effortless. But here's the challenge most people face. They create a vision, they get excited for a week, and then the mundane pressures of life pull them back into distraction and routine. That's why your vision must be revisited constantly. Before 2026, make it a practice to visualize your future, to feel it deeply, to write it down, and to align your habits with it every single day. Your vision is a living, breathing force. It requires attention, commitment, and energy. The more you invest in it, the more real it becomes, and the more your life begins to shift to match it. A powerful vision also requires accountability. Share it with someone who will hold you to it, not just cheer you on. Make sure your environment, your circle, and your habits reinforce it. The vision alone doesn't work unless your actions follow it, and your actions don't follow unless your mind and emotions are fully engaged. The vision is the compass, your habits are the engine, and your state is the fuel. When all three align, you move with purpose and certainty. Before 2026, don't settle for a vague hope or a wishful list of goals. Create a vision that excites you, that scares you, that pulls you forward with intensity. Make it so compelling that it becomes impossible to ignore, impossible to settle for less, impossible to drift. Your vision will shape your decisions, elevate your energy, and magnetize the opportunities you need to make your future inevitable. Create a vision that pulls you, and the year ahead becomes unstoppable.